Money. It affects our everyday life. But how do we make more of it? Manage it. And make sure we make the most of our money. Welcome to Money Mindful, a podcast to teach and support you as you learn to manage your money.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of the Money Mindful podcast. I am your host, Meaghan J Smith. I'm a money mindset and life coach for women. Today, this episode has kind of been a long time coming, and it's interesting because I actually had something else planned for this month in August, but just life happens and I've pushed back the whole series of podcasts that I had for this month to next month, which is all fine. That's what happens behind the scenes when you're running a podcast. But what that's meant is it's opened up some episodes that I now have that I can chat to you about coaching and thought work. And this has been a long time coming. I've been wanting to talk to you about this subject for quite some time. And if you're new to the podcast, hello and welcome. I'm so glad you're here with me. But if you're one of my longtime listeners and you've been following my journey, you know that when I started this podcast, I was working as a primary school teacher. And along the course of the past year, I have completely changed my career and now work as a life coach. And day to day, I coach women. I work from home and I coach them over the wonderful World Wide Web using Zoom. And I wanted to explain to you what life coaching is and what thought work is and how that helps you with having more money. Because if you've never done any thought work before, or you've never had a life coach before, you might be wondering, how on earth does it all work? How on earth does seeing somebody and talking about stuff help you with creating more money? And here's how this whole episode, I want to talk to you. I'm actually going to do a few episodes because there's a lot to cover. But what I want to do over the next few episodes is I want to talk to you all about how thought work works and how you can apply thought work to changing your life, like literally, like I've done. And I want to teach you some of the tools that I actually use with my clients. Now, in the beginning, what I teach you might seem so simple that I'm guessing that you might be tempted to dismiss it or think, is that all? Really? But I really want to encourage you to stick with me over these next few episodes, because what I'm going to teach you in the next few episodes can have an incredible impact on your life, on how you feel about yourself, on how much money you create, and ultimately how you feel throughout your day-to-day and what you do in your life. But the first thing I want to start with is just give you a little bit of background knowledge on what a life coach actually is. Like, what is coaching? Because I know I talk about it quite often now on the episodes, and so I really want to explain to you what a coach actually is. So when you work with a life coach, now there's different life coach schools, so depending on where you're trained and who you work with, there might be a slightly different style of coaching. But I'm trained through the life coach school, and so I coach using the tools that are taught through the life coach school. And some of the basics I'm going to teach you over the next few days. But basically, what a coach does is show you your mind. That is the number one job requirement of a coach. A coach is not a therapist. So there's a place for therapy with a psychologist and medical professionals in that area, but that is not what a coach is for. So coaches focus on your future. All right, so when you do a session with a coach, you might be talking about stuff from your past because it's something that you're thinking about now in the present moment. But a coach is not going to get you to talk about your past trauma or something that's happened in your life 20 years ago, and that you come to each session and you just keep rehashing that and rehashing that. No, absolutely not. What a coach does is a coach points out to you, creates the awareness for you, gives you the opportunity to actually see what you're creating in the present moment. And that's why coaching is so transformational and so powerful, because you're working with what's happening in your life right now, and then you get the tools to create what you want in the future. But listen, if something happened in your past that triggers you and you're constantly thinking about that, that's something that a coach could definitely work with you on. You might have something from your past that you want to work on, that's something that you've been carrying around with you for a long time. Like maybe you've always had an issue with lack of confidence or not doing something because you feel like you're not good enough. Now, as hard as this might be to believe if you're new to coaching, that is something that you're creating in the present moment. But we think often that we feel things and we experience things in our life because of something that happened in our past. But actually, we're feeling what we're feeling and experiencing what we're experiencing in the present moment because of what we're thinking about it in the present moment. And I'm going to explain that to you more and dive deeper into that over the course of the next few episodes. Now, the other thing about coaching, which I want to make clear to you, is that, and I give this example sometimes to my clients, is that when there's something getting in the way of you moving forward, when we keep repeating the same patterns in our life and we seem to have the same reoccurring problems, what most often happens is we think it's because of a circumstance in our life, right? We think we don't have enough money because of the salary amount that we earn, right? And we think that if we just earned a higher salary, then we would have enough money. But the interesting thing is, and I'll explain this to you more, is that something that I've worked on and been working on is this feeling of insecurity. You know, I always thought that if I had investments, I would feel secure. But what I learned was it wasn't the investments that create that feeling of security. It's my thoughts about my investments that create the feeling of security. And I'm going to teach you more about this. But the reason why coaching works is because you might go to a coach because you want to start a business and you want to work on, the fact that maybe you don't feel confident to do that, or maybe you feel like you're bad with money and you want to work on your money mindset. Now, the thing is you'll come to a coach with all these reasons why you think that you're bad with money, right? Because your parents were terrible with money when you were young, or because something bad happened. You went through a divorce and, your partner took all the money, or you didn't work because you had kids. All these circumstances that happen in your life, you think that that's why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. But the reason is because of how you think. And a coach helps you identify how you're thinking and then why that is the reason for what you're experiencing in your life. And Again, I keep saying I'm going to explain this to you more and more, so just stick with me. But one of the very first steps that you can do when it comes to changing your life and changing the results that you get in your life is by becoming aware of your thoughts. Now, what are thoughts? Thoughts are a sentence in our mind, okay? A thought is just something that our brain thinks, and it's just, I kind of imagine it like, do you remember those old screensavers on the computer where it might have said an affirmation and it just kind of moved across the computer screen, and it might say something like, you are one with the universe, or I don't know, whatever affirmation, that would go across your computer screen. And that's what I imagine thoughts in my brain being. Just these sentences that move across my brain. Now, we have about 60,000 thoughts a day. I don't know that there's an exact number, but that's like a rough amount, okay? That's a lot of thoughts that we have. And it could be anything from, oh, it's so cold today, or, oh, gee, I've really got a lot of work to get done. Oh my gosh, I've got to remember to pay that electricity bill. Like, these are all just thoughts in our brain. The very first step with all of this work is to become aware of your thoughts. What I do with my clients is something called a thought download. Now, you can do a thought download on your own, or you can do it with a coach. Same, but just different. Basically, what you do is you take all the thoughts out of your brain and you write it down on paper. Now, a thought download can be done in different ways. You can do a thought download first thing in the morning just about whatever is rolling around in your head. Like, oh, I'm so tired today, or, oh, I've got to make sure I get that presentation finished at work. Whatever it is. Oh, I wish I could have got my nails done. Oh, this COVID-19 business is driving me nuts. Whatever it is that's in your head, you just write it all down on paper. And it's not an actual journal entry as such. It's just sentences. You're just writing down the sentences that are in your brain. And what that does is it gives you the space to be able to see what you're actually thinking. Now, if you do this every day, what's really interesting is that you might discover that you're actually thinking a lot of the same thoughts. And in the beginning, when you're new to doing thought work, this is really interesting to see the thoughts that you're thinking on the regular. So a thought download can be done in lots of different ways. When you're working with a coach, when you're talking to them in a session and you're talking to them about what's happening for you, that's a thought download. You're getting it all out, and the coach who's working with you is taking notes and listening to what you're saying and seeing the thoughts that you currently have. But when you do it on your own, you need to write them down, because you need to be able to take a step back and be the watcher and remove yourself slightly from it and see it on the paper and see, this is what I'm thinking. Now, you can do a thought download about just whatever is on your mind, or you can do a thought download about a specific topic. Like, you might do a thought download on your thoughts about money. Or you might do a thought download on your boss at work, all the thoughts that you have about this boss of yours. The interesting thing is when we write out our thoughts, when we think our thoughts are the truth. We think our thoughts are reality, the truth of life. But in actual fact, and when this lands for you and when you have experience doing this is, so life-changing. Our thoughts really are just sentences in our brain. I'm going to say that one more time. Our thoughts are just sentences in our brain. So you might have a thought like, I'm just not a confident person, or I'm not good with money, or I never have enough money. Now, to you, that might sound like the truth, and you might be able to show me a lot of evidence that you never seem to have enough money. However, that is not a fact. That is not a circumstance that is set in stone that everyone would agree on, because you might, let's just say you earn $60,000 a year, and you might have a thought that I never seem to have enough money. Now, somebody else who earns $100,000 or $150,000 a year might also have the same thought. I never seem to have enough money. Now, the person who's earning $60,000 is probably thinking, if I only had more money, I would have enough. But it's just our thoughts. It's not the truth of your life, because somebody else, like that person who's earning the $150,000, somebody else might think that they have plenty of money, but they have a thought that they just never seem to have enough. So, what I'd like to offer to you today is, over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to teach you some more thought work tools. All right. But the first step is the thought download. And I want to really encourage you to just take 5 to 10 minutes a day to write out the sentences that are in your brain and just start creating awareness about what you are thinking. In the beginning, you might not see the connection yet with how this helps you with your money situation. Now, this actually helps you with every single area in your life, but this is a money podcast, so I'm going to make the focus to do with money. But I use these same tools with my clients that I coach on business and my clients that I coach on weight loss. It's all the same. I mean, you can apply these tools to whatever topic. So 5 to 10 minutes a day, you just need a scrap piece of paper or a notepad and just dump it all out. Just get all the thoughts out of your head. And here's a few tips that I'd like to give you. You don't have to show this to anyone. So I would really encourage you to not censor yourself, because often we have a thought in our head and we don't like it, so we don't want to write it down. Because we think we have another thought that, oh no, surely that's not how I think about myself, or I don't want to think about myself like that. But the truth is that you do, because you've thought that thought. So just write it all out. And you might find in the beginning that you have a lot of negative thoughts, about yourself or your life or your situation. Yeah, maybe you don't. I mean, great. I really hope you don't. But there's nothing wrong with having negative thoughts. And the beautiful thing about it is that we get to see how we're thinking. And in the next few episodes, I'm going to teach you what to do about that. Now, this isn't an invitation to beat yourself up. Like if you've got a lot of thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I'm not good with money, the next thing that people often do is then they give themselves a bit of a beat up about their thoughts. Oh, what's wrong with me? Why do I think so negatively? Why do I think all this stuff? Please don't do that, because it's a complete waste of time, and this is not what this is about. The reason why you do a thought download in the first place is to create awareness around how you're thinking, because when you have awareness about what you're thinking, you get all your power back. You get to take agency over what you are thinking deliberately. And then I teach you how you can change your thinking. All right, that's coming up. I can't fit all of that into one episode. But the first step is, and what I'd like to encourage you to do is just every day this week, just 5 minutes will do. You can do it for 10 minutes if you want, but just do a brain dump, if you will. You just write all your thoughts down on paper. And if for those of you who are super keen, you might want to do a little extension to that and just read through them afterwards and just ask yourself, are any of these thoughts actually facts? Like, are any of them actually facts that everybody would agree on? Like, if you have a thought like, I'm not good enough, is that thought actually true? Like, would everybody else agree with that thought? And you might be surprised by the answers that you come up with. Okay, I think that's enough information for you today. I would love to hear how you go with doing the thought downloads and if you have any insights. When you're doing the thought downloads this week, if you have got any questions about how it works or what this brings up for you, I'm available for you. You can reach out to me wherever you're following me. You can email me through the Money Mindful website. It's Meaghan, MEAGHAN @moneymindful.com.au. If you've got any questions, I'd be happy to email you back and give you some clarification or any insight or coaching around it. You can also reach out to me anywhere you are following me. If you are interested in finding out more about thought work and how to apply it to make change in your life, this is what I do day to day with women, and I would really love to help you too. The first step is to just book a consult with me, and you can do that through the website. There's a menu heading that says book consult, or you can just message me wherever you're following me. Now, in the consult, that is all about you talking to me about your life and what's happening for you. Kind of, you tell me in a nutshell what's going on for you and what you're hoping to get out of coaching. And then I do a little bit of coaching with you just so you can experience what coaching is like. And then I let you know whether we would be a good fit, whether I would be a good coach for you, depending on what it is that you'd like coaching on. So it's free. If you would like to find out more, hit the book consult button on my website or reach out to me wherever you are following me. All right, this is exciting stuff, folks, and it's the first step to making lasting change in your life, getting aware of your thoughts. Until next time, have a beautiful week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Money Mindful podcast. For more info, visit moneymindful.com.au. For future episodes, be sure to subscribe. And remember, the information in this podcast is of a general nature only and does not take into account your personal circumstances or goals. Please seek professional advice for your own financial needs. Remember to have fun along the way.